still people coming to the courthouse, so they're ushering people in. Yeah.
Hey, how are you doing? Good to see you in person. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you a strap.
Okay, thank you so much.
That should be fine, right?
Yeah, that'll be good. Thank you so much.
Come on, just gotta make the hands work.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Who you with?
Fox 9.
I know, that's right, Fox 9. I'm Leslie Redmond.
Hi,
Nice to
Leslie.
meet you. Thank you.
There you go. Now you can put yourself way over on the side there.
Okay, perfect.
There you go.
Thank you so much.
Oh my
They're talking about Araya.
You
Yeah,
see
yeah.
her?
Araya?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna grab her.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think her uncle or something over there.
I'm in a text thread with her. Nakima got us on a text thread, but I just want to make sure I put my eyes on it.
Okay. Yeah. They're waiting for her to arrive. That's what they're
Okay,
talking
perfect,
about.
perfect. Georgia Ford's daughter is going to be here, so that's who we're just waiting for to arrive. And as soon as she arrives, we'll get started. Okay, you all? Thank you all for being here.
looks like I'm not moving it anymore.
Did I put they put a mic stand over my mouth?
This is a moment.
You can try to clamp onto mine
You're already crashing one up.
or see, that's mine.
Pardon me if this is new to me because normally I'm on that side of the camera. But today I am award-winning journalist, a 3-time Emmy award-winning journalist, the only journalist who was in the courtroom during the Derek Chauvin trial. So she is a vetted journalist whose credentials are impeccable, is right for doing what you're doing right now. So if you think for one moment that you are protected, this is the wake-up call to let us know that these don't stop bullets. Because I haven't even said her name yet, that Georgia Fort is in federal custody for doing her job. And if we leave here with anything today, let's leave here making sure that the main thing stays the if we don't speak up in the loudest voice, all of our so-called freedoms, our illusion of freedom goes away. So I know I didn't introduce myself when I started. My name's Harry Colbert Jr. Past president of the NAACP to speak. We're going to have several members of the media that are going to come and speak to you, and then a couple of members of George's family would like to make brief statements.
We stayed here too many times to count, and we said then that it was a state of emergency. I want you all to know that the emergency is still ongoing. When you have journalists being arrested for reporting, when you have truth tellers being held captive, we are under a state of emergency. And I told her, They're not going to arrest journalists. They tried that with Don Lemon. It didn't work. And now Don Lemon and Georgia Ford are under arrest. We are under attack. We are being targeted, and it's not just individuals. Our democracy is under attack. Our Constitution. Rights. We are fighting for our humanity and our democracy, and nobody fought harder for that than Georgia. She is the ultimate professional. She is so intentional, but we saw after Alex was killed on Saturday, journalists were being tear gassed. King Demetrius, who's going to speak to you, has a boot on right now. They are all of our representatives, and if you want to run for office and you're not standing with community, you don't have a shot. I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm tired of standing up here. And Georgia is a wife. She is a mother. She's a business owner. She's a journalist. She should not be in. Once again, we're under the microscope because we're not being protected and we can't get it right. And it's not on the community. And nothing's burnt to the ground. Y'all always making excuses. Y'all want to act like this is us against them. No, we're under attack. And the people have not even begun to fight back. And you all better wake up before it's too late to wake up. It's not a joke. It's not a drill. When journalists are getting arrested, you all better be afraid. This is a state of emergency. And not the same one from 2020. This is a different state of emergency. Hypocrisy of a pastor also being the head of ICE in St. Paul. If Jesus was here, he would be flipping tables, so why aren't y'all? This is a different day. This is a different state of emergency, and none of us are safe. I'm going to ask Georgia's daughter to introduce herself, and this her husband, and just say a couple words.
Hello, my name is Araya Hammonds, and I'm sorry if I stutter or if I say anything too fast. For documenting what happened at City Church, and this is wrong. This goes against her First Amendment right as a journalist, and it's being challenged today. She is not a protester. She is not an activist. She is a mom working to provide for her children through the gets released, the separation of families will never be right. Thank you.
God bless you. God bless you.
Georgia, I support her. You know, behind the scenes, a lot of stuff I'm on. You know, I'm there, I'm watching, I'm supporting her. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't understand what can go down to the point where you gotta arrest a journalist for doing. Off to take my 7 to 8-year-old, my daughter. We driving. I'm getting stopped. 10 cars. Come. I didn't want them to see this. They were asleep earlier. Now they got to see this. Oh man, that wasn't cool. You know. So it's like understanding that what we up against right now is really affecting.
Okay. The next person that I want to bring is the current president of the National Association of Black Journalists, Minnesota, Cherie Curry.
Also, thank you all for coming out. Cherie Curry, S-H-E-R. She, as Harry had said earlier, she is an award-winning journalist. She has covered demonstrations throughout her career, including the protests that erupted after the murder of George Floyd. The First Amendment protects the press. Her independent journalists especially be protected. They do not have the same type of backing as an independent journalist as someone would who works for a media outlet. So we are outraged for this and for her family, and I hope all of you
I'm going to mispronounce your last name. All right.
My name is Elisa Kuznetsov, A-L-E-E-S-A-K-U-Z, N as in Nancy, E, T as in Tom, S-O-V as in Victor. I am the president-elect of the Minnesota Society of Professional Journalists. Our president couldn't be here today. The Minnesota Society a member of our board. Georgia is a pillar of our Minnesota journalism community. She has a passion for making the profession more accessible and has mentored and trained countless young journalists. We are alarmed by the escalating actions by the Trump administration that attack freedom of the press. to weaken democracy. If Georgia and Don's cases proceed, it would seriously undermine both the freedom of the press and the rule of law. We urge the federal government to remember the importance of the First Amendment. The Minnesota Society of Professional Journalists has recorded several acts of violence experience a First Amendment violation. Thank you, and we'll have a full statement posted on our website, mnspj.org, later today.
We're going to hear from our current Minneapolis NAACP president.
Good morning. My name is Cynthia Wilson, the current president. What we're seeing now and what we're experiencing is a pivot away from what's happening with our democracy. And if we allow this to happen now, this is not a Republican, this is not a Democratic, this is not a black, white, as you already heard, this is a humanitarian. Everyone who voted him in, he's voting you out. So what I would say, we have another election coming up. We need to prepare to vote, to get our voices heard, and to make sure that we're doing what's necessary to make sure our democracy stays a democracy and not a dictatorship.
What's happening with Georgia, who's in federal custody. I got to say that one more time, because while we're here, not in custody, she's over there in custody. But you all, many of you, know exactly what we're talking about because you experienced it. But I have someone here
I just want to let you all know how touched and moved I am by Georgia Ford and how she has always spoke power to truth. And like everyone said, she is an award-winning journalist. Let that sit right there. Any of this, just so we clear. He wore a tan suit and America lost their damn mind. Journalists is being attacked on a day-to-day basis. We seeing Trump with his sycophant individuals who are basically discriminating on anybody. Gunned down, and there's no outrage, but yet you go back, and the January 6th thing that happened, you didn't have no energy for them, but peaceful protesters who went into a church and called a spade for what a spade was. 200,000 black women has lost their job. Now it's over 500,000 black women has lost their job since the administration has been in the White House. I want you all to understand something and understand something now. Our children will not forget your name. These ICE will not get away with this. The shooting me in my foot, I'm just grateful that I still have my foot. Some people been shot in their eyes is out, their foot, they having trauma. Just think about what's gonna happen to our children. Our children is watching this.
Yeah.
Who's gonna help us?
I'm Alex Chip, and I'm the president of our local Asian American Journalists Association chapter. And
hello, I'm Deanna Pistono, and I am the secretary of AAJA Minnesota.
we just want to say that AAJA stands with other news organizations here today and calls for the right of people to assemble peaceably. The spirit of the Constitution, the same fundamental document that people bring up in a multitude of political discussions, is not upheld when journalists are arrested for observing and covering protests. Thank you.
Council of American Islamic Relations. First and foremost, I want to take an opportunity just to tell the family in Georgia Fort that your mom is an amazing person.
Yes.
Not only that, the fact of the matter, we just spent the day with her yesterday. She America, wake up. Truth is under attack. Our Constitution is under attack. And Minnesota is the front lines to defend democracy.
Yeah, it is.
They will not be able to Don Lemon arrested, Georgia Ford is arrested, but also two other civil rights leaders in Minnesota arrested, Jamel Lundy and Trey Heron Cruz. Two people that Minnesota knows, and many of you know, who have stood up tall for their community. And today they are being targeted for standing up for and Alex Preddy. It didn't stop there. They went and targeted our civil rights leaders, Nakima Levy-Armstrong and Chantel On. It didn't stop there. They went for our journalists, Georgia Ford and Don Lemons. And I want you to know something, America. It has always been the black community in this country that has stood tall. voice that they don't need. You have allowed them to create headlines that are false and lies. They are lying to the American public about everything that is happening. And you have allowed for them to get away with lies every single day.
Yeah.
It is time to stand up. If you didn't stand up for the Somali American community, the law and the Constitution of the United States of America. This moment will pass, and we will be better for it. We're in the fight. We're not leaving the fight. And I'm going to let you know we are winning, because what they did to Georgia 4 will not stand in any American court. For us, but most importantly, they stood up for the Constitution of the United States. Today's a dark day in American history. But tomorrow, we will define what that history will be by Americans standing up for journalism in this country. For far too long, many of you have been kicked. Not only did she care deeply about her community, but she went to become independent journalist, award-winning. And she is one of those people that many of you will learn about her. She's passionate, she cares deeply about this community, and I have seen her work every single day. We're proud of you, Georgia. We're any means necessary.
Okay. I'm going to bring up Professor Dr. Uhuru Williams.
The press is not a nuisance. It is not an inconvenience. It is not an adversary to be neutralized. The press is a constitutional safeguard, a guardrail, the fourth estate. It is one of the few institutions explicitly protected in the First Amendment. Entering dangerous territory. In moments of crisis, whether during the Red Scare, the Civil Rights Movement, or the protests against the Vietnam War, authorities have too often responded not with transparency, but with suppression. They have labeled dissent dangerous. The work of an independent press. It is the foundation of democracy. It is the bedrock of the principles that animate our democratic republic. And when they crumble, we all are in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And I want to be clear, my friends. If an independent journalist can be the credentialed reporter, then it's the protester, then it's the citizen with the camera phone. And before long, the line between public safety and suppression becomes blurred. We will not normalize injustice in this community because that would mean that we would be understand that questioning. That's the enterprise. That's what Georgia's work represented in this community. And when the state, in this case the federal government, uses its power to detain a journalist engaged in lawful reporting, it sends a chilling message not just to that individual, but to every reporter. Never been safer. Silence has only made injustice more durable. We cannot allow malicious or overboard prosecution, whether by intent or effect, to become the tool through which scrutiny is discouraged. The Constitution does not protect comfortable speech. It protects contempt. The core pillars of democratic accountability. And once hollowed out, institutions do not easily recover. Let me conclude by saying today that a free press is not a luxury. It is not ornamental. It is essential to the infrastructure for democracy. If we care about the freedoms that sustain it, even and especially when they're tested. This is a test. Georgia, Florida, and Minnesota are the canary in the coal mine. We intend that they'll become the phoenix that rises not from the ashes, but from the bloom of resistance.
Bush Fellow and New Sons Fellow with a friend of Georgia Fort. The thing I want to say is George Floyd, and also in this moment with the ICE occupation, thousands of media outlets descend upon Minneapolis. Because the truth is real, and Georgia is a truth teller.
Yes, she is.
And I'll say now, you can lock up a truth teller, but you can't lock up the truth.
Come on, Raj.
America has a problem. The first sign of a crumbling democracy is attack on free speech.
Come on.
The First Amendment be built on freedom and democracy. But I look around and I want to ask you, where is this freedom you speak of?
Yeah.
Where is this democracy you speak of? And if it does exist, who does it exist for?
Come on.
Georgia is a hero.
Come on.
Yeah.
We find ourselves at the edge. And the only way in which we can push ourselves back is if people stand up. So if you're Republican, if you're Democrat, if you're black, if you're white, if you're Asian, if you're Christian, if you're Muslim, this is the time in which we have to stand up. How far will you go to protect the freedoms that you have been gifted, that my ancestors died for in this country? If it starts with Georgia, next is you. If it starts with Don Lemon, next is you. Our freedoms are not inherent. Georgia Fort and the folks who are arrested today, I cannot believe you and no one should. To give voice to the voiceless is the work of Georgia Fort. And until they are freed, this group of people and thousands more who you'll see later will be standing on the front line. Release Georgia Fort. Thank you.
That these charges need to be dropped. They are fallacious, and this is absolutely, I'm going to call it what it is. TV, if y'all live, y'all live. This is some bullshit.
That part.
And real quick, before that last speaker come up, for anybody that's watching right now, I want you all to know that your silence pose a question. Where are the corporation? Where are the faith leaders? Where are the leaders, right? Even when it comes to music, I see people like Nicki Minaj pandering and playing with Trump. It's not a joke. You all are leading to the prosecution of journalists like Georgia Fort, like journalists like
Hi, everyone. I'm the editor at the Minnesota Spokesman Recorder located in South Minneapolis. But before then, I worked with Black Press, and then I worked with the Center for Broadcast Journalism. Georgia was the reason ground together, and she was like, hey, you know, I'm just starting this company, but do you want to write for me part-time? And then that became full-time. I've worked on branding with Georgia. I've sat with her on many meetings, and I just refuse to allow any narrative to be painted about her that isn't courage, and so I'm following in her footsteps, even though this is not my lane right here, standing right here. But I think it's really important for us all to come together. I also think it's important that you really decide if your constitutional rights are worth putting your life on the line for, because that's the position that we're put in today. Georgia's amazing.
That's the reason that was our last speaker is because that's Georgia's legacy.
Yes.
That's her legacy.
Yes.
When we talk about the work that Georgia Fort does, speaking out.
Listen.
And it's beyond frustrating, it's infuriating that we as journalists aren't taking this as seriously as it is. And maybe if you'd have listened to us a little bit longer, a while back, we wouldn't be.
Or a little bit before 6 a.m., so there's very limited information.
Perhaps for Stanley, if you're comfortable, have you had a chance to speak with her since the presentation?
She said at this time, no, for those of you who knew.
No, we have not.
Well, not with that as well. And also, people has went to his house and basically threatened his life, so his life is on the line as well. So all these sycophants individuals that's coming out there, independent journalists, we have to pay attention and be aware and have security around us at all.
You do what the community does.
I will say it is time for everybody to organize
Yeah.
on all political spectrums. We need everybody to show up and organize at every single caucus. When you show up, they can't talk about you. When you show up, you make a decision. So we need everybody. Covering. You are being covered. So I hope you share to the public what it would mean if you were pulled out this morning at 6 a.m. and your institution was targeted. You were targeted. And to the national press, you do. Not the type of headline that you've allowed for a long time. The headline should be the First Amendment is under attack.
Come on.
That is what's happening. They're
Come
coming
on,
for the
that's
first,
good,
not the
Damani.
second, the first.
That's good.
Prior to these arrests, the judge refused to sign the warrant.
Exactly.
And then intervened.
Harry opened this up for questions, but again, I'll just reiterate to you all that it's very limited information. We want to encourage everybody to show up at the rally today at 1 p.m. and there's a hearing at 1:30 p.m. and that's where we'll learn a lot more information. So we encourage you all to come out for that as well.
Where's the rally location?
It's in front of the federal.
Right now, they thought they silenced Georgia Fort.
No.
Right now, there are thousands of people watching this live stream on Black Press.
That's right.
And they're going to be
So you ain't shut up nothing.
This is a statement issued on behalf of Georgia Fort by her counsel. My name is Becca. I am the senior producer with Georgia's newsroom Black Press, BLCK Press. Here's the statement. Georgia Fort, Emmy Award-winning independent journalist and NAB journalistic capacity, documenting an event of significant public interest and concern. The free speech and free press guarantees the First Amendment fully protect such news gathering and reporting activities as Fort's arrest is transparent, an unconstitutional attempt by our federal government to intimidate journalists
Thank you all so much for coming out. Thank you for doing the work that you are doing. Continue to do the work.
Keep your head up, keep your head up, keep your head up. We'll see y'all at the rally.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Mr. Media.
I don't want an interview. Just for identity.
Hey, it's been a while. How are you?